This is your daily market review for Monday, April 1st, 2024. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market review for Monday, April 1st, 2024. The year is moving quickly, as it always does. Hopefully you had a great long weekend, enjoyed some time with your family, relaxing, celebrated, and had a good time. Hopefully you had a chance to watch some NCSU basketball. Yes, NC State into the Final Four in women's and men's basketball. It's exciting for me. Yeah, so going into this week, we expected, I don't know, if you go look at the Stock Traders Almanac, it says a lot of bullishness, but today's action, again, more chop. Structurally, some things lagging, some things leading. Funky market. So let's dig into it because, again, I don't think there's very much upside near term unless we're about to break out. And if we break out, sure, then it's got higher to go. But in my opinion, it looks a little suspect up here, especially going into, we know there's supposed to be a Fed rate cut in June. Why? Are things really that strong? So new to the channel, check out the Discord room, link in the description below. I appreciate love, support, and generous donations. If you want, use the Calendly link in the description. 30 minutes. Let me know what you need to chat about. Trading, stocks, future, investing in real estate. Need to buy or sell a real estate. Need some help with that. Want me to help you find a great agent in my network? Because again, the thing is, please do not trust Uncle Joey, Aunt Sally to your biggest asset and then underperform and get less money than you expect. Or if you're trying to find a deal, get stuck. All right, follow on the tradingagent.com. Check out the Marcus 5.5. Telling you, get out of there. Get out of it. I'm telling you, get out of Schwab. Recommended reading. Follow, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. Follow on the Twitter. Again, I apologize that the tweets do not come directly from X into the Discord room anymore. Sadly, I don't know. Everything changed when everything changed. So let's get into it. Let's refresh the rates or the FOMC expectation. So again, May, nothing. This is where it gets interesting, right? In June, 58% odds of a cut. Bitcoin, interesting. Cannot get over 70,000 plus. Chopping around, just keeping on it. Again, I mean, it's not really bearish until it breaks below, in my opinion, this 61,000, but it could chop around for a while. I mean, that's the thing. You have to consolidate potentially after a big move up. I mean, you go from 37 up to 74. Do not be surprised if it consolidates. It doesn't have to always rip straight lines. Oil, been holding up. Natural gas got a bid. Again, I mean, it just seems like this area is pretty safe at the moment. That's all I would say, at the moment. As long as the market doesn't absolutely get destroyed, I think natural gas has a bottoming tendency. Dollar, we talked about, worth keeping an eye on because, again, the dollar's starting to cook. Has to make bulls a little nervous because, again, I mean, same thing with bonds. Like, you thought it was going to break out. People want to see lower rates. And it's like, whoa. Man, we got right back into the Fed day gap. I mean, you close at the low of the day on a gap down. Auction's not great. Be careful. VIX, we've talked about it basing down here. I mean, this gap up, again, not that it was a great close by any means. Again, when I see gaps off the lows, you usually have a little bit of up, even if it's just a couple days. But usually, I mean, that was the anomaly, right? The gap up, right? Gap up, gap up, gap up, right? Gap up. I mean, do the math. Look into the past. It's always there. Vixen, we've talked about it, holding the 17 level. Vivix, as we talked about, here's another one, holding the mid-70s. Keep an eye on it, right? SPY, chop, chop, fizz, fizz. You think it's going to break out, which, again, everyone this morning was really excited. Again, this didn't follow through. Maybe it needs another couple days. Who knows? QQQ, Doji, double topping, chopping around. IWM, we talked about this on Thursday's weekend review. Like, I did not like that Doji, and then here you go. Red bar. Volume's not heavy, so again, trust it. Take it with a grain of salt. Dia, man, it's looking like a little M top here. Again, but it needs to get back under 393. That's the key. Gold, holding up pretty damn well. Interesting candle today because, again, breaking the channel, but high volume. Gap up. Let's see what happens. It's really hard to trust, again, like, not to say you can't trust gold, but it's really trust the whole complex when silver keeps playing these games. Like, it's just lagging. GDX, we talked about needed. I would say at some point it should touch the 32 area. Here you go. You're in it. Interesting candle today. We'll see what happens. Needs to get over it. GDXJ. Again, I don't trust these names until the Feds pivot, but again, maybe the market's already pricing in with it in the FOMC futures. Okay. Again, I'd rather be late because I do know that if the market does get slammed, the odds of this holding up are kind of 50-50. It's just a relative trade. You got to be careful. AEM, back at the highs. AG, back over 6. Good for that. Coming into the next resistance range. We've talked about Newmont just lagging. It's really tough to trust the metals with Newmont, but here you go. I mean, this thing should be in the 70s, which is crazy. PAAS. Same kind of thing. Chopping around. Again, these names, long-term, may have bottomed. Wouldn't be surprised, but also wouldn't be surprised if they got cooked too. Taiwan Semi, and again, reason why I say cooked, meaning like, hey, if the market sells, these names are part of the S&P 500. They're part of the liquidity mechanism that is the markets. I mean, not necessarily with this S&P, but again, do indexes, mutual funds, and all sorts of fun things, and we have seen what happens. They can get cooked. So, Taiwan Semi posted today, watch this 140s. Micron hits the 125. Wow, I mean, again, it's impressive. Don't step in front of this one. I don't know what the right price is on this. AM Dizzle getting over 180. Interesting candle. I mean, again, I don't know if you guys saw the open, and then it just kind of fizzled all day. That's all it was. NVIDIA, again, not really acting and following, but holding the 20-day. So far, so good if you're bullish that. SMCI, we've talked about this one. Just at this point, it's probably going to chop between 1,000 and 1,100. It needs to get over that 20-day and just close over. It's been kind of a pain in the butt for that. Intel, this one started cooking a little bit. Again, all these names that, like, again, Intel, AMD, they rallied after the Chinese news. But here's the thing. If China's making chips, you can bet your ass prices are coming down. Excuse my language. Like, that's the reality. SMH was about to break out and then give it right back. It's just interesting to see. Adobe, this one again, drops on gaps down, and now it's just chopping. Again, Adobe, names like this should be leading. Apple should be leading. Look at this. It's just stuck at the 170 area. Has nothing. Amazon, been holding up pretty damn well. Look at it, man, got up to 183. Again, riding the lightning. Nothing wrong with that. Meta, up a couple points today, holding the forward, 80s so far. Good for that. I mean, CRM, this one's been, below the 20-day. It looks like a little lagging. GOOG broke out over, pressed the wrong button. Guggenheim, Google. This is where it gets a little like, okay, got over these levels, alarm went off. Didn't do anything with it today because, again, it didn't seem to have, probably could have shorted in the afternoon, but it's like one-day event. We'll see. Microsoft, this one's been holding up pretty darn well, right? Just chopping. Like, you really expect it to see more, but at this point, it's not going anywhere. NDAQs, we talked about, like, do you trust the breakout hits the next upper resistance? But hey, at this point, it is strong. So again, I would wait for retest potentially. That's kind of the key. MicroStrategy, we talked about on Friday or last week that wasn't a great candle. Not surprised you had a little more follow through down today. I'd be watching the 20-day. Has to hold it. Netflix and Spill started rolling over, but hey, holding the 20-day area. Roblox, this thing has just been a nightmare. Chopping around. Maybe it's a big head and shoulders bottom. I don't know. Pan W. I like this because, again, if Pelosi's buying this, there's going to be cybersecurity threats. I think that's what her thought process is. I just don't know if it has room to drop. Again, I can't remember the calls she has, but I imagine they're like way out in the future. Tesla, same kind of thing, just been lagging. It's really hard to trust this market. Everyone says, it's a bull market. Yeah, I get it. It can be. And again, just pick your stocks. Pick the wrong ones. You're not going to like it. 20-day, Tesla, not so much. Airbnb, holding up pretty well. But then, again, watching the 20-day, it seems to get stuck around this thing. Costco, we talked about the 20-day. Here's, again, a drop, a bounce, 20-day. That doesn't look so hot. Starbucks, this has been lagging, broke below the channel. Again, I think this one's an easy short with tight stops. Because, again, if this thing breaks, months of accumulation and people trying to play with this, and then they get puked out, could get ugly. FedEx, interesting. Again, here's another one, like, breakout on the gap on the earnings. Now you're back under the old highs from December. Confusing, right? Caterpillar, chopping, been acting well. Nucor gets over 200. Looking, it's interesting. These candles every day are just not convincing. But hey, just is what it is. New highs are new highs. Letter X, as we talked about in general, they will not get bought out by Nippon Steel, but there's always other bidders, in my opinion. VALE, it's interesting. This one can't get off the freaking mat. Barf, chopping. Again, these levels make sense long term. Again, I'm just curious to see if they capitulate and then go. Arrow, chopping around, gets out over the highs and then comes back. I mean, that one's interesting to watch, follow through tomorrow either way. CCJ, Goldman upgrades to 55. Okay. I mean, that broke out with volume. I just hate that when Goldman upgrades things because I don't know if I don't trust them. So just keep an eye on it because, again, you want to see the follow through. Was it just a pump to unload into their clients? That's what I was curious about with Goldman. CF, like ag names, chopping around. When you zoom out, you go, okay, they look like big choppy sloppies. NTR, same kind of thing. Choppy sloppy. Aaron said it. Don't be surprised if, it held again when it held the 200-day. I don't know, somewhere in this range, is anywhere it can cook into this marinate. So keep an eye on it. XLF, been a frustrating one, right? Again, you got another red bar and the volume's not huge. Just keep an eye on it because these things are, in my opinion, hold the biggest risk. JP Morgan is just a fake little breakout, just chopping. Morgan Stanley's been lagging. It's just been trading in this big range. Bank of America has been leading up, acting well. Interesting bar today, but again, the volume's not huge. But here's the thing, like the first day of the month and quarter, you would think financials would be acting better. Not so much. Goldman down a few points. Here again, we talked about the KRE in the 50s. Keep an eye on it. XBI is another one that I'm looking at, like watching this. Is like, all right, junior bio should be strong if the market's going to be strong. And it's like, man, they broke out and then they've just gotten stuck. I mean, that's the best way to say it. Stuck in the no man's land and no range. So good old solar, our favorite, just nothing trade. Too bad it's almost might be worth just removing from some of this from the review because it's, to me, they're going lower. It's just in time. Now, again, oil spiking, some of this could help these out, but I mean, it's just, I don't think the government subsidies are there. Sedge, these things priced in some insane futures. ENPH, we talked about hitting the 200-day. Keep an eye on this one. I mean, it's just, you could argue it's compressing. Either way, like whatever you do, define your risk. First Solar, we talked about this one popping up to this blue range. Okay. And said the same thing on Thursday or in the recap of the weekend. Like, hey, don't be surprised when it chops around. Like this thing is known for chopping and slopping people around. It's not very friendly. HYG, corporate debt, like today's action, not so strong. Gap down on decent volume. Again, I'm impressed that anybody and their mom would be buying corporate debt at this point. I mean, not all corporate debt's equal, but I mean, that's a no touch for me. That's a no, dog. Oil, got to be driving the Feds crazy, right? Making higher highs. Oops. Again, we talk about UNG. Not a fan of this product, but yeah, I mean, that's holding the lows. Remember, it deteriorates. KLD, we talked about, again, if you shorted this up in the 150s plus. Okay. I mean, this is the thing. Trade around it. It seems to be, I don't know, it'll come down to the 20-day, play a little game. I'm just curious if natural gas has got more oomph. XOP, we've talked about this one again. Looking strong, chopping for a couple days. Man, if this starts getting away from this mid 150s, low. See you later. I mean, Exxon, we talked about getting over 115. Are these gaps like traps or are they gaps to follow through? That's where if you're trading these, own these, you got to be careful. CVE, same kind of thing, like holding up pretty damn well, coming in next resistance. Valero, thought the gasoline names were about to turn, but look at that. I mean, new highs today. Keep an eye on it because, again, as long as they hold up, they're holding up, right? They don't really have much backfill at this point. So keep an eye on it. Occidental, I mean, we've said it needs to get in the mid-60s. There it is. Finally. Buffett sell zone. We'll see what happens here. This one's been lagging. EQT, another name that, I like long-term if it pulls back. They're doing some midstream, like kind of vertical integration. I like the idea of it. And then last but not least, Flex LNG, because I think we'll be natural gas exporters in time. Like everyone's like, oh, going green. It's like, no, you're going to need some natural gas potentially. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Don't hesitate to just, drop a line. Let me know what I can do to help you. Again, all the information is in the description. If you have any questions about real estate, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be interesting summer. I mean, we're seeing inventory come in. We're seeing prices, if priced correctly, selling quickly. You're seeing things in certain places just not selling well because, again, you can't be mad. I mean, I guess you could. You can be mad at how the states are handling all of this stuff, whether it's come to squatters or just taxes and all the stuff that can just really affect real estate prices. So if you have any questions, please reach out. Always here to help. Talk to you soon.